little rainy here in New York. I have some traffic too heading home, which kind of sucks, but it's okay. So, fix this. I want to talk about a common trap that people fall into, myself included. Happened many times, also my friends, and that's deck building for only the best decks in mind. So if there's a format where there's like, you know, tier 0 format, it makes sense. You're gonna deck build around that deck, right? So if it's like Goki format, it's good to main deck Droll. It's good to main deck like crazy going second cards or like stuff that stops Goki. But if you're not playing in a tier 0 format and you're only siding cards for like the top 1, 2, maybe even 3 best decks, you could fall into the trap of going into an event, playing against the rogue and getting blown out of the water because you have cards that are just super good against, you know, the best deck, quote unquote, but not good against the rogue decks. So I think it's better to to side deck and to main cards that are just generally good going first and going second. Therefore, it doesn't matter what matchup you're up against. There would just be solid cards that you will always want in your deck going first and cards that you will always want in your deck going second. There could be certain cards that are like, you know, extremely powerful against the best deck, but I don't want people to make the mistake of playing too many of those cards and then end up not playing against that deck in the early rounds of a tournament and then, you know, losing. Just because you don't have enough cards to decide or you don't have good enough cards in the main deck to deal with those rogue decks. Playing against like the, you know, the top 1, 2 best decks of the format, that's most likely going to happen towards the end of a tournament. So to get there though, you need to beat the early rounds of a tournament, right? So that's why people sometimes, although Ash is not like the best against the top 2, 3 best decks, it's just generally very, very good. So I think sticking to that logic could really benefit some people, and just try to deck build more to try to win the first few rounds of a tournament rather than the last rounds of a tournament, right? Because not everyone that you're going to play against is super amazing and they're playing the super standard list that you see on YouTube. A lot of people, they see lists on YouTube that top Nats or whatever, and they just assume that that's what they're going to be playing against, you know, every single game in a regional or at an event that they go to. So something to keep in mind, food for thought again, another one of those videos. But yeah, try to win your early rounds, and then once you get to your later rounds, you know, luck is an aspect of the game, variance is an aspect of the game, so you kind of have to leave it to that once it gets to the later rounds. And even though the cards that you are choosing to main inside, let's say they're not super broken against the best deck, they're still going to have some impact. And just the fact that you got through the early rounds and got to the late rounds is already an accomplishment in itself. So I think that's